Hi guys, today I would like to show how I clean my shoes. So here is the original state of the shoes. Actually, this one is already cleaned a little bit more. So this stuff you get from floors which are hard to pivot on. Usually they either put some kind of wax there and then it makes it sticky, or if it's a restaurant or some popular place where people use street shoes especially, then this stuff might happen. I really hate when it happens. So for example, there is a venue which holds some wedding and events, and they from time to time, this is actually the state after kizomba I went there, and then shoes were like that. But also at a tango place I got like through one night all those black things. So I really encourage organizers to take care about the floor. I wasn't an organizer before, so I know sometimes it's hard to control, but it's actually really important for pivoting and just keeping healthy your knees and also your shoes. So here are my two pairs, which are 7 centimeter heels. I really like them. I love them, I would say. So, and that's what I did first. So I took a knife, which is not a sharp knife, like old knife, table knife. And so I scratched a little bit the surface. That pretty much takes those black things off. It takes a little bit of time. It didn't take a lot for these shoes because it's easier, but it will take a little bit longer for these ones to come off. However, I wouldn't say I scratch a lot of surface. For example, if I have a brush, I have a brush somewhere, but I never use it. So it would take quite a lot of here, like leather itself, but which I don't want, right? So I use usually knife. And then after I use the knife, I take either number 2 or number 1. I actually today, when I was doing this shoe, for example, I tried first number 2 and it felt to me a little bit too rough. For example, if I try it again, so after I did the other one, it's okay. But once you only scratch this thing, it feels a little bit too rough. And this is already a used one, so it has less of a coarse surface. So the new 2 would be sometimes maybe a little bit too rough. I wouldn't go also higher than number 2 or maximum 3. I'm not sure where this thing comes from. Anyway, so start with number 1 and number 2 and then see how much you need. You might not even need a lot of sanding here, because if it's already like this, I just did a little bit of sanding and it's already good to me, because it will get dirty fairly fast. But it looks already much better. I prefer not to wash my shoes too often. However, another way would be to also damp them a little bit, and with an old or new toothbrush, I mean whichever you don't use for other purposes, you can just use that brush to take off some kind of particles. Okay, and so I'm going to repeat the same process for the second pair, and this pair would take probably a little bit more effort. I'll try to notice how much time I spend doing it, and then I'll be back to show that. So another thing which I want to do actually is to clean that surface. So here I'm not going to show you because it's a pretty old pair. So some shoes are like I just use again like old toothbrush, which I put in hot water and then it just renewed, or just like buy a special toothbrush for that and use it. And then for these shoes, which I totally love, like they've been actually surprisingly tolerant to all my dancing, so I've been wearing them, I can't remember how long, like maybe 2 years, not every day, but quite a lot still, and they're in a fantastic shape. I used to be a distributor of Bandolera. I'm not affiliated, I just really love the brand and the cushion here, but I was impressed with specifically this design. I have to check if they produce it again or not, because I might want to buy it again, but that it wears pretty reasonably, right? So what I did by chance actually is that I started doing this as well with my knife, and it kind of took off some I guess it's like, I don't know, like particles or whatever. So you could do also with a damp brush the same thing, but it actually comes off quite easily when you just do it, kind of like also taking stuff off, and then it will have a better shape, and if you want you can damp it a little bit and to renew. In general, we don't want to wet shoes to clean, so here I also would use a damp brush to, maybe with just some general soap, to clean and make it a little bit cleaner. I like when they put some kind of print on, because it does help to keep the condition better. All right, so that's what I'm going to do, and then I'll show you later the result of it. I thought maybe I should show the procedure. I just don't want to get too messy here, but basically what I do is that I take a surface like that. I do not press too hard because I don't want to scratch a lot of surface. I just kind of make sure that I scratch it a little bit, and this one I might go something like that, and you see it comes off. So you just need a little bit of patience. Watch out for these sides though, so if you do like that and then part of it scratches that also coating here, like leather coating, so I don't really want this, of course, so I have to be careful to not to do it. And you can play maybe with the end of the knife and whatever other method you can create, just experiment. You see it comes off. This is what I would do. And I don't need to have it perfect. I just want to take off those black things and wax, or maybe it's like drinks spilled on the floor, whatever, so that my shoes are fast enough and they're smooth and easy to dance in. I really like this surface. It's like matte leather, so when I buy shoes with this kind of surface, I don't need to scratch them to make them less slippery, versus when they're really those like glossy outsoles, leather outsoles, I mean. Again, it depends how often you are on such floors. I'm just not a big fan of dancing on floors which are not very reliable, but sometimes you have no choice, right? So that's pretty much it. So it kind of did the job already, so I don't need much more. Okay. Now I have this, let's start with number one, maybe. It's already used one, so it's kind of smoother than usual, but it actually might be enough. So that's how I sand it. Again, like, you have to be careful with not to scratch like this lace here and the leather coating, so you can also minimize the surface so that it doesn't touch. I'm gonna actually skip, I hope it was in the frame. I forgot that I have to check whether the shoes are in the frame. So I can do this, but I don't feel like it's necessary really. So to me it looks good enough. I can scratch later more, but for now it works. So I'm gonna leave it at that. So, and it kind of, this is how those shoes look after everything is done. So all right, okay, this one might take longer. So you see it's I don't remember if I danced after in them, maybe once or something, but it was really hard to dance in. So if you get closer, you see like there are these black dots. Of course, I would prefer not to do it more than just like 2 or 3 times per year, so that to to keep my shoes working, otherwise you see like they will get really thin. I've already done it before, I think, on both of these pairs, so now I'm covering with my finger on the left hand so that it doesn't scratch any velvet. And actually, if you figure out your own method, please put in the comments how you do it, because I'm interested to learn how other people are coping with such stuff. You see, it takes longer to take this off, so I might use just this round tip also to get to some specific areas. It feels harder to get this stuff off. I'll finish the edge and we'll see. Maybe I'll try to sand it. These ones probably would take off easier if you use a brush or something. I just can't find my brush. The brush which with metal parts, I'm not sure what it's called, but it's usually used for suede shoes. I don't think it's a good idea to use it a lot for leather shoes. So what I'm probably gonna do is that I will finish this part and I will sand this one and I will try them in dancing. And then I see if more cleaning work, cleansing work, whatever you do, cleaning I guess, is needed so that they're comfortable to dance in. You see, this one doesn't want to get off. Maybe it was from another dance also, because if it's so deep into the tissue of this outsole, so I suppose that it's been there for a while. So okay, if we compare with the other shoe, like there's still quite a big difference, as you see, right? So yeah, so it's already good enough, I think, for much better than this one. And I will just sand it. So I'll start with number 2. It bothers me still that there is this thing on, but I know like I shouldn't be perfectionist here because it doesn't really matter. So I'm afraid that these ones might make you slide a little bit too much, but I will adjust it later. This is a new piece. I'm gonna try a new piece. This is number 1, I think. Sandpaper. I recommend you to buy sandpaper in packs so that you have at least a few pieces for each numbers, and it will last for a while. Okay. It feels quite smooth to me, so I don't think this thing is a problem. So I'm going to leave it like that and match the other one. Okay, so I cleaned those shoes like up to this condition, which is pretty good compared to what before. I realized that I do prefer actually finer sandpaper, because you see, like for example, new ones I use here and then it got a little bit deeper. I think number 1 would be my preference. You can even try 0, but you might want to also buy number 1. And I had the paper which I had already slightly used from some other work, so I just kind of cleaned it a little bit. But that paper, which was not a new sandpaper, worked even better in my opinion. So this is the condition also. Yeah, I haven't cleaned those ones yet, and I didn't do any water. I didn't put any water here. I just used at first, as I showed earlier, So scratching it like that a little bit, right? So, and pretty much if I take this one, and I just don't want to create a mess here, but what I would do like this type of cleaning, and then I use just brush to take the dust off like this. And it's actually it's not wet, it's dry. The only thing I would prefer to not to have those rubber things inside, so but this is the only one I had for shoes, so so I use this one. So anyways, as you see, it is there is a difference, right? So it's much cleaner now, and then I will just probably put a little bit of water with soap just to cleanse them and the surface later. I'm not going to show it, it's quite trivial. I'll just match the other shoe to this one. Okay, so this is the condition now of this pair. You remember how dirty it was, and this pair. So they're pretty much ready for dancing. And I haven't been dancing a lot lately, but I'm gonna go today to the milonga. I've been studying a lot astrology and also metaphorical cards, some psychological counseling. Anyways, today is the time for dancing, and I hope to enjoy. And later maybe I'll clean. You see, like I don't like this how these beige insoles get dirty, so sometimes I put an insole in, but in this case I'll just try to clean it with soap water. Sorry guys for showing you all the dirty details of this type of profession and work. Tango dancing is not I mean, always glamorous, right? But we do what we can. Now the shoes are ready for dancing, and I hope to go dancing and enjoy tonight. Have fun, guys, with all this procedure, fancy procedure. So it's important to take care of your shoes, and I hope that they will serve you for a long time, whichever brand and color they are. Tango shoes are sacred, as you know. Actually, guys, what I also did is that out of experiment, I washed my sandpaper. I know it sounds crazy, but trying to minimize the things we throw away. So I decided to water it a little bit and let it dry. So I didn't scrub a lot, just a little bit, putting off things like dust and particles. And it actually did the job. So they are quite, this is a new piece though. These ones I used, and it's still possible to use them. Like, subscribe, and comment whatever you want to mention, and I look forward to making more videos for you. Enjoy your day.